Good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, we have some massive news as sources close to the situation has informed me that this highly anticipated lightweight catchweight showdown between undefeated three-division world champion who simultaneously held the WBA super title at super featherweight, the WBA regular title at lightweight, and junior welterweight, that being none other than Gervonta Tank Davis, who is now 29 wins, no losses, no draws, 27 big wins by way of knockout. He took on then undefeated lightweight, junior welterweight, Mexican superstar title contender, King Ryan Garcia, who is now 23 wins, 1 loss, no draw, 19 wins by way of knockout. He is 24 years of age. This was a highly anticipated lightweight catchweight showdown between the two, and it looks like it lived up to the billing. In this fight here, okay, I was part of the weigh-in and I saw the weigh-in, and nothing matched this weigh-in and the energy of this fight since I saw Saul Canelo Alvarez, who's widely considered to be the face of the sport of boxing, with a record of 58 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 big wins by way of knockout. He is 33 years of age, 5'8" with a 70-inch arm reach. When he took on in the highly anticipated rematch and with Gennady Triple G Golovkin in a unification bout. And prior to that, the other weigh-in I saw that matched this energy was when the same Saul Canelo Alvarez, he faced off against legendary retired iconic Hall of Fame superstar boxer, that being none other than the man known as Money, formerly known as Pretty Boy, retired Hall of Famer Floyd Mayweather Jr., okay? When Floyd Mayweather and Canelo Alvarez had their weigh-in, okay, that was another fight that was highly anticipated, and that fight at that weigh-in, that was jam-packed, okay? The energy for that was massive. It was absolutely massive. It was unmatched. And so with that said, that's the last time I saw a fight of this magnitude with a weigh-in that I personally experienced this electrifying. Now, at this weigh-in with Gervonta Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia, there was people hanging off the buildings. There was people hanging off the garages. The people that couldn't get in to the actual weigh-in, and it was outside, but people couldn't get into the actual weigh-in. They was hanging off the garage buildings looking in. They was hanging off the hotel buildings looking in. There was people on top of the T-Mobile Arena itself that was looking in. You know, the energy was massive, right? I personally underestimated it. And I said, well, this fight will probably do about 700,000 pay-per-view buys. So I grossly underestimated this fight and the magnitude of the fight. Not the fight itself, but the magnitude of the fight and the sell of the fight. And I underestimated it because it was massive, okay? People was definitely interested in this fight, okay? It drew a lot of interest and it had a lot of momentum, and they promoted it correctly, right? And so now sources are close to the situation are telling me it's on track to do 1.1 million pay-per-view buys. Again, let me say it to y'all again. It's on track to do 1.1 million pay-per-view buys. That is absolutely enormous. That's massive. That's huge. Not just for Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia, but it's huge for the sport of boxing that, you know, we have a fight that reached 1 million pay-per-views. We haven't had a fight reach 1 million pay-per-views since, I believe, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury 1, or it might have been Canelo Alvarez and Triple G. I know Canelo Alvarez, Triple G, first 2 fights, it reached 1 million pay-per-views. And Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, well, that reached 1 million pay-per-views the first fight. Okay, since then, you know, we haven't had fights reach that level of pay-per-view success since then, okay? And if this fight actually does what the sources are reporting, that it's going to reach 1.1 million pay-per-view buys, well, that is huge, okay? Now, there's no mistaking that Ryan Garcia has built up his fan base outside the actual sport of boxing. He's built up his brand outside the actual sport of boxing. But, you know, Ryan Garcia is a constant profession. He understands how to promote himself, and he has the looks, and he has 9 million Instagram followers not to mention the followers that he have on Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, so on and so forth, right? So he has an enormous fan base, and then he has, the endorsement deals. He's connected with Gatorade. He's connected with the NBA and the NFL. So he has huge endorsement deals, right? And so you factor all of those things in, it's huge for Ryan Garcia, right? And then you factor in Gervonta Tank Davis. He has built himself within the sport of boxing. Gervonta Tank Davis, he has almost 5 million Instagram followers. He has a big social media following, Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, so on and so forth. So Gervonta Tank Davis, you factor that in, and then the excitement, right? Gervonta Tank Davis, he gets knockouts. He going into this fight, 28 fights with 26 knockouts. Ryan Garcia going into the fight, 23 wins, 23 fights, 19 knockouts, right? So they entertaining. Gervonta Tank Davis lives up to the hype, and he's co-signed and backed by Floyd Mayweather, who's the biggest star the sport of boxing has ever seen, not named Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson. Floyd Mayweather is an absolute massive, figure within the sport of boxing. He holds every record known to the sport of boxing, point blank and period. Floyd Mayweather holds every record known to the sport of boxing. You look at the top 5 pay-per-views, 4 of them are Floyd Mayweather, okay? Floyd Mayweather holds the gate records, and he co-signed Gervonta Tank Davis, and he put Gervonta Tank Davis on the second biggest fight in boxing history, which was Floyd Mayweather himself versus Conor McGregor, and Gervonta Tank Davis was the co-main event for that fight, okay? So, and that fight did 4.3 million pay-per-view buys, 4.3 million pay-per-view buys. So you bring all of those things together, and you factor those in, and you see that, Gervonta Tank Davis lives up to the billing that Floyd Mayweather put out there. He lived up to the hype, and he gets knockouts. Well, it draws interest, okay? So Gervonta Tank Davis has broken records at the live gate at, the Barclays Center against relatively unknown lightweight star title contender Rolando Rolly Romero, who only had a total of 14 fights. Now, he had 12 knockouts, but he's relatively unknown, never had a title shot, never fought for a world title, so obviously he was never a world champion. Now, he did his part talking up the fight and building up the fight and drawing interest from fans that started to believe in, Rolando Rolly Romero, who was believing in himself and believed that he could beat, Gervonta Tank Davis. That built up the fight, but at the gate, it did a gate of $5 million revenue. It brought in $5 million at the gate, and you factor in that broke the record at the Barclays Center, and you say to yourself, well, Deontay Wilder fought there, Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, Errol Spence, they all fought at the Barclays Center, and he broke the record, and look who he faced off against, not even a big name opponent. Then he did so, now he holds the record there. Then he did so at the Capital One Arena, broke the Rolling Stone record, and he fought, again, another relatively unknown fighter in Hector Garcia, who was a world champion at super featherweight, moved up, but nobody knew who Hector Garcia was, okay, outside the circle of the sport of boxing. And once again, Gervonta Tank Davis, he breaks the record with Hector Garcia with a $5.2 million gate at the Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C., okay? So you factor in all of those things, and you bring those two star powers together. Now, as far as the accomplishments amongst the two, they're not very accomplished compared to, right? Not saying that they're not, but just comparing them to another massive fight. Hence the reason I said initially it's not the biggest fight in boxing. I feel like that's Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford because of what's at stake, the legacy that's at stake, okay? There's never been a 4 major sanction belt undisputed welterweight world champion in the history of sport of boxing. You have 2 guys that are undefeated and well accomplished. Errol Spence went to the UK for his first title opportunity, took on IBF welterweight champion Special K Kell Brook, stopped him in the 11th round to pick up his first world title, came back. He unified the titles against 2-time welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, future Hall of Famer Showtime Shawn Porter, and then he unified against Cuban star welterweight world champion in Yordenis Ugas, who was coming off of the biggest win in his career when he dominated Manny Pacquiao, okay? And then in between that, he beat two-division world champion Puerto Rican superstar boxer Danny Swift Garcia, and he also beat 4-division world champion Mexican superstar boxer who is a surefire future Hall of Famer in Mikey Garcia, right? And then Terrence Crawford is undisputed at junior welterweight. Terrence Crawford is the reigning world champion at welterweight and widely considered to be the #1 pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. And he is also a 3-division world champion. So you factor in all those things and you say, Ryan Garcia never fought for a world title, never been a world champion. So when you bring all of those things together, that makes for a bigger fight, especially seeing as though you have two top 5 pound-for-pound best fighters in the world in Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, and they're undefeated and they're well accomplished, and you bring them together, that makes for the biggest fight in boxing, okay? And so with that said, that's why I felt like Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, the biggest fight in boxing, but popularity-wise, this matched it. So it looks like it's going to do 1.1 million pay-per-view buys. That's enormous on the part of these two fighters. So that's all I got for y'all, man. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Does this fight do 1.1 million pay-per-view buys? Follow me on Instagram, Blue Blood Sports TV. All one word, I'm gone. Peace.